So you want to launch a telehealth brand? Let's have a fireside chat about it with my partner, Mark Lombardi, who way more experience in telehealth than me. I've been mostly on the payment processing side, the finance side. And of course, maybe you've seen some of my videos talking about peptide payment processing. And my group works with a lot of these brands in the research community. And almost all of them want to get into telehealth. But are they in over their head? Are they miscalculating how much it would actually cost from a time and money perspective? Like, do they need a big team? There's all these questions that people have because it's a starkly different business model. Even though you're selling similar compounds, you have the ability to do way more things in telehealth, but there's also a laundry list of rules, regs that you got to abide by. And there is in research too, but in telehealth, it's especially important because you have doctors involved, you have RX. So hopefully, by the end of this video, anybody watching this, you know for certain what it's going to look like when you launch your telehealth brand. And there will be an opportunity to engage with Mark and I's team to help you from an operations perspective get launched sooner than you think. And for a select few people, maybe even an equity opportunity where we help you exit, build this thing up and exit, because that's from most of the research guys I talk to, their priority is like, how do I turn this base of people that have bought from me into an exitable asset that's worth a lot? So, Mark, can you give people a little bit of background as we sit over this lovely fire here?
Yeah, happy to. And it's good to see you, man. So I've built and sold a handful of companies in my time. I started my career actually in data protection for electronic health records. So, from that immediate starting point to where I'd built a company that was serving a lot of GLP-1 companies. We were a data provider for some of the biggest 8-9-figure brands, to ending up owning the largest portfolio of exact match drug and peptide domains. I own glp1.com, sirmoreland.com, CJC1295, GHKCU, CMAX, for those of you who know peptides. Basically have all the domain assets there. I've worked with over a dozen plus telehealth brands, actively consulting in that field, and now we get to collaborate to help more people participate in what I believe to be the most impactful and largest boom of just biological and or medical breakthroughs that have happened this century. So it's exciting. I'm grateful to be here.
I mean, breakthroughs is understatement. You got AI companies like Midjourney switching their entire company direction into the medical space, and diagnostics, health diagnostics, and AI. It's allowing people to self-diagnose better, but also empowering the doctors to make better decisions about what medicine people should be taking. And so, to only stay in the research peptide space is kind of like you're opting out of all this potential exponential wealth creation.
That's right.
Because AI plus peptides plus that's a recipe for, big value creation. What are your thoughts on people who have been in this space for a bit? They're selling research peptides. They're trying to get into telehealth. Because that's primarily who we're helping.
Sure.
Right. And
yeah, I'd say research is short-sighted in just one phrase. So if you've already had success, if you've been participating in it, you understand what's happening from a consumer perspective. You understand that the growth is significant. It's really unparalleled if you're a traditional person from e-com or supplements playing in the peptide space. Specifically as a research person, you've seen the growth, though you're not protecting yourself or your business. So that's a huge problem. The government has made very clear statements of what's coming regarding the crackdowns on research use if you are caught selling it to a broader audience specific to humans.
Statements and actions.
Yeah. You get a lot of cease and desist. So that's a real thing. Processors won't take you anymore. You're one of the few that's actually been able to, make that happen. Though I'm hearing, and, from you as well, it's getting harder and harder to be able to process payments legitimately. And then, of course, you have no exit value. Truly, if you're looking at organizations, there's a bunch of research peptide companies right now for sale. I just saw one. They did $100 million as their exit price. They're doing $44 million a year. And it's interesting. There's a lot of the big guys, Peptide Sciences, shut down without notice, just randomly turns it off. You don't randomly turn off a 9-figure business. Someone said something, in my opinion. I don't know the guys. I hear good things. I hear they're smart guys. though. Everything about research to me just suggests short-sightedness. And to your point about bioacceleration and what's happening with AI, there's so much that's happening regarding legislation in favor of being able to receive this data, access this data, be able to enable it via AI. There's parallel or adjacent organizations being built regarding patient care, engagement for like the actual person being able to optimize their lifestyle. You have the community movements around like Brian Johnson doing the Don't Die thing, and the biohackers just really enabling this. So in a short amount of time, like if you think medically, you've got 100 years of worth of data. In like 20 years, because GLP-1s have been studied for about 20 years, we've taken this to a completely different place where we're truly transforming our bodies, our minds, our longevity as a whole, as a species. And you get to participate in that. So I wouldn't see it as a quick cash grab if I'm an RUO guy. I'd look at it and say, I was successful in understanding what the risk tolerance was at a time. How do I protect what I've built to be able to serve the most amount of people? And that's what I'd actually be thinking. And the only logical thought is, all right, I'm either going to go build a telehealth company, which is what we can help you do, an AI company if you have a tech background, or you're going to hang it up because there's really no long game. So you have to do one of those two things. That's what I think.
Yeah. Super sharp. I mean, there are companies, back to what you said about peptide sciences, they're not the only ones that are just shutting down, not wanting to exit. I've talked to some of them. Like, hey, you built something awesome. Want to sell it? Said, well, actually, we're planning to shut down next month.
Crazy.
And so
It's crazy.
And what's interesting too, there's all these promotional partners, affiliates that work with these brands.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it shuts down, they need another home.
Yep.
So there's more and more every day, people who don't want to launch a brand, but just want to promote it.
Sure.
They just want to like stay in their lane and be a promoter. And these same people could be tapping into a telehealth.
Those guys have the biggest upside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's crazy that people don't understand what it actually takes to get a telehealth brand started. Because if you were on the inside of the brands that I'm on the inside of, significant portion of their revenue, I think like 30-40% of 8 and 9 figure brands revenues are coming from affiliates because they actually have the power. They're making the connection with the consumer. If they understood that it was really just a handful of partners and platforms, obviously it takes years to understand what is required. Though if they were able to like actually partner with the right people, they would see the value that they're creating directly. Like they would live in the environment and the entity that would create that for them. It would be a meritocracy for them, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you look at C-Bum, he was one of the first influencers for, the supplement brand that's now worth, a ton. And part of the strategy for the business owner that invited him into the enterprise was, let's land C-Bum first.
Sure.
And then all these other influencers, it'll be very generous. It'll be very good for their brand to be a part of this. Absolutely. So much so they're willing to take a lower
fee. Well, when you get someone like C-Bum, like you've won. The brands that I've talked to that have went the affiliate route and they go after A-list celebrities, because that then builds the credibility. It makes it easier for other affiliates. Because if you can say, X person, if you could say Kim Kardashian's behind your brand, then you have a suite of people, middle-aged moms who are like, oh, Kim Kardashian uses it great. I can reference that in my content. So those first pillar people, which are probably a lot of the people listening, like if you have a solid following, if you've built a brand, if you are in an adjacent industry that's health related, you have the biggest upside here to add this as a function of your business and then encourage your network to participate as well. So you don't just have to give it away to another company because they're more established. You can actually build it yourself with the right partners.
Mm-hmm. There's a number one objection when it comes to research versus telehealth is the margins are slimmer. Well, the margins are slimmer assuming you are doing the math on the conventional acquisition method of telehealth, which is run paid ads to form, not really have a lot of relationship building involved. Right. Maybe you have it advertorial or something, but the influencers is the unlock because they got the relationship.
That's right.
And I don't know what the math would be, but for every influencer that says, like Steve Will Do It recently posted on his X, hey, I'm looking to work with the telehealth brand. And I know people that know Steve and I know the deal terms that he's looking for. And they're decent at deal terms for any brand that is starting with a couple million and is serious about this industry. And 100%. Steve has a cult following. For every person like Steve who say they want to be overtly involved in a telehealth brand, there's probably 10 or 30 other guys that are at his level, cult following wise, that are open to it. They just won't talk about it.
Yeah.
So there's all these creator influencers or brand managers who that's what I believe the majority of their deal making over the next year or two is going to be centered around these telehealth opportunities. Because Steve, he's a fit guy,
Sure.
but it's not like people pay Steve for workout advice.
Right.
So there's going to be people who are non-fitness experts, non-doctors, who are the driving force behind patient acquisition in it for a telehealth brand. And that's one of our unique propositions when engaging with us is the types of folks that I know and I've worked with over the last several years, they do the payment processing for these big creators.
Mm-hmm.
So company as an example, WAP, they won't let you process payments on their platform as a telehealth or peptides, but they will let you run ads on their platform, okay, through their Meta account partnership. They're very bullish on telehealth.
Right.
And so they're playing a different game because they want money into the ecosystem. And so all of the creators that they may have access to, that they make documentaries about, that they process payments for, that is the latent network within my arm length span, you know,
Yeah.
to just tap into. It's just, I've been in this evaluation mode for several months, just watching what's going on. I know that you've been in telehealth for a bit, and I wanted to take and enable good operating teams like the ones that you run,
Sure.
matching them with people who have not just capital, but good distribution.
You said the magic word, man.
So we can make some good exits. Cause I don't know what the timeline's going to be until there's going to be a telehealth brand on every corner, but like, do you think we're early?
Still early.
Okay.
It's still early. So I'm like actually a data scientist. Like I'm a systems engineer. I have a data science background. I own a data company. That's how all these GLP brands came to me. We're hilariously early. There's, of course, brands, you're going to have this divergence and convergence that happens. You're going to see a lot of brands come in, and then the ones that are not properly protected or capitalized or that they have an advantage or a moat, they're going to die. And then those customers are going to go somewhere else. Though if you have distribution, that's the magic word. Like if you have a cult following, if you've built an audience, you have the most effective acquisition channel because you've built trust with people in an adjacent industry. And peptides are coming. Like everyone who's in this, we're kind of in a little echo chamber. If you've been taking peptides for maybe more than a year, like if you've been taking peptides for more than a year, you're way early. And most people, I can give you the numbers actually. So in the States, just specific to GLPs, you're at about 12 to 15% market adoption. The experts are projecting we're going to be at about 50%, just so you have context. So even in GLPs, which is the most saturated peptide across media spend, across the acquisition, still early. Peptides as a whole, sub 5% adoption. You're talking tens of millions of people who are going to be introduced to this in the next couple of years. And they're seeing the results and the data from their peers and their friends. And again, the influencers, the people with audiences saying, this is my transformation. This is what happened to me. And it's not magic, it's science. And like that's the thing that gets me lit up. Like I've personally taken them. I've dropped 40 pounds on peptides. I'm feeling stronger. I have a different sense of like what my longevity is. And that's just personal experience. Like for me, I aligned my incentives with my longevity and that was cool. And so people doing the same thing, it becomes really interesting to get those types of changes. Though if you have distribution, like you don't just have to hand it off to another company and saying, hey, they're a provider. The networks have been democratized. So now you have access to pharmacy networks, physician networks. You have access to, like, as you said, with WAP and the different media accounts, you can go acquire customers that way. Though, if you're an influencer, if you're a person who's built an adjacent company, this is a perfect bolt-on as a clinician, as someone in the RUO space trying to protect your assets across the board. Even if you're just brand new to it, you can absolutely build here because it is still so early. If you're trying to compete with the biggest companies, that's where it gets hard. If you're trying to compete on Meta, good luck. Right, some of the smartest people in the world are in that game right now, and the cost of acquisition regarding what it takes to bring a new person inside of your brand, $400, $500, $700, right? Versus what it used to be 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, $200, $250. Like that math scaled. The new math doesn't. And a truth that everyone needs to understand: this business, for the betterment of all people, by the way, is a race to the bottom. prices are going down and down, which for consumers like us is awesome. Like more people should have access to this. Like it is life changing. You do have better results. Like this is the biggest kick in the nuts to big pharma in fucking 10 years. So I love it. And at the same time, as a business, it's like, oh shit, that's eating at my margins. So what do I do? And now that's where we talk about, all right, well, what are you doing on recovery? How are you communicating with them? What type of patient care do you have? How are you supporting them? All those things factor into the economics, which I think is interesting. Those things that people who are listening to this should be mindful of as we start to work together.
Right. There's a thought process. Well, what do I have to launch first for my telehealth brand? Is it a single product? Do I need multiple? And do I need all this testing? What's your thoughts on?
I like the angles. It's specific to the person. Like when you come in, we'd have to have the conversation. I do it regularly. Like there was a brand I was just working with, brand new. They're like, hey, we started this thing. We were doing GLP-1s and the CAC is way too high, meaning like how much it costs to get a customer on Meta. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because you're late. Like if you're going to be a new brand trying to sell GLPs on Meta against all of the 8 and 9 figure guys, you're late. That's not going to work. So you have to pick a different angle versus someone who has an existing audience and then they can actually do a lot of organic content because that's your skill set. Like you're going to have a way lower acquisition cost because you're posting for free and you're winning customers and you have nice margins. Just for a call out, your average margin gross is probably going to be around like 55% when you're in this game on the telehealth side. So if you plan for that and you have a budget that you can support that regarding content creation, it only takes a handful of customers to be able to become profitable, float your OpEx, and then be able to scale up from there because there's recurring. So like that's an interesting play when you're thinking about it. I'd say, you know, when you're thinking of what SKUs or what products you're going to enable, what's your unique advantage? Like, are you a muscular man? Like, are you a bodybuilder and you have a community of people like that? All right, well, maybe you want to focus on GHRPs, growth hormone releasing peptides like sermorelin, tesamorelin, CJC 1295, TRT, and clomiphene. Like maybe that makes sense for you versus if you're, you know, a mother of 2 and you're out there like in middle America, maybe you want to be more like mindful of like the HRT programs, or you want to be cognizant of the things that are going to help you tone up, or if you're doing the weight loss and what that looks like. There's a ton of stuff that you'd focus on if you have a unique niche. Though the cool thing is you don't have to, though. You can offer everything, which is actually my recommendation. Like you'd want to focus on one unique mechanism, and then the money comes when you cross-sell the things that people actually need. Like give them what they want, they'll provide what they need. And that's the approach that I've seen work here, because you more often than not, you do need to take more than one peptide. Like people don't talk about it, though. Like, so at sermorelin.com, go figure, we sell sermorelin. Though a lot of people come in and say, hey, do you have this, or this, right? They're looking for something adjacent to it. They're looking for GHKCU because after they fix their body, they're looking to improve their skin, or they want to fix their hair loss, or they want to fix their gut health. Like it's an ongoing relationship. And if you're able to get in with someone, get them a positive result, they trust you to keep doing it. So you have the opportunity to support them long term. And as long as people are getting better, like my personal belief is you are obliged to do so. Like you have built a meaningful like outcome for these people. So hopefully you would want to keep doing that. You'd want to understand like how else can you serve them? So both work. Recommendation for sure is focus on one mechanism. They'll be able to offer the whole suite, because one, that's going to give your audience, the people you're working with, the best outcomes. The two, that is also the most profitable. Like once you go beyond one SKU or one purchase into a cross-sell, you're in an LTV that's incredibly meaningful for your business. And you're also like changing people's lives, which is really cool.
For sure. The exercise everybody needs to do is map the money model.
That's it.
Map the money model, understand the economics of it. I mean, if you were to hire 20 people tomorrow for a telehealth brand, one of the most important positions would be the customer lifecycle manager, which comprises of a ton of skill sets and theory.
I know 3 brands hiring for it right now.
It's different than somebody's
completely different.
Front-end acquisition.
Completely different.
Like we as entrepreneurs and people listening to this, you have to understand this, but you have to have like probably a dedicated person, because it's a big move to do these cross sells.
100%.
Especially if it's about the same body, but drastically different part of the body. So weight loss transitioning to hair loss. I mean,
It's a jump.
That's a jump versus weight loss and then maybe muscle toning.
Right.
Because
those are paired often.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So
it takes a conversation. You nailed it. You have to have a care team. Like I call it a care team. It's life cycle management. Exactly right, though. And I see that role open at most companies. Like that is the one skill set in demand. I've again 3 brands I'm working with right now that are looking for it, because you need to be able to establish the relationship with the people you're serving and make sure you can take them to that next step of the journey. Oftentimes these brands have a protocol, and that protocol absolutely works. And then it's what's next. And if you're not going to participate with them the entire way through their journey, they're going to leave. And so you must be able to do that. It's critical for retention. On the business side of it, when you're like managing economics, that's your retention rate. That's your churn rate. That is like the entire value of what long-term math makes it possible for you to continue to serve people, which also gives you the advantage earlier. Like if you have a good life cycle team and you're helping people get the outcomes that they want and they're sticking with you, you can actually then apply that to the front end offer. You can make it lower. You can reduce the barrier to entry so more people can come in, so you can serve more people. Like they're hand in hand, and it's really important to do it. So I like the call out.
And it was probably a lot harder to be a life cycle manager before the age of AI, because I mean, you being a data guy, okay, I got 1,000 patients, all at different stages and different situations. Mm-hmm. The number crunching and situation, because not just numbers, it's like the people and their situation, all these different variables.
Yep.
Without AI to go through and see, okay, what does this person need to do next?
Yep.
Who is most likely to need assistance right now? And then what products would be best for them?
Yep.
Just, it's so much simpler. A person on their phone could just take in a data set like that on a standard free model and get a nice breakdown of who needs what.
Yeah, the technology that's available now is incredible. For a lot of the early brand owners, I'd say just be mindful that regulations are still very applicable here. Like we're operating in a HIPAA regulated environment. So you have to be using technology that's compliant. If you're not, huge risk, and please don't ever do that. Though what is possible now because of the advancements in technology is incredible. Like there are so many organizations, companies that have been funded or have built meaningful tech on the EA side to be able to enable those patient experiences and care experiences. If you're not using those technologies, you're probably missing out. And then for the consumers, even more so, because you're able to deploy that now. So as a patient, as someone who's getting served, I now have new insights, new data, new visuals, graphics, reporting, just instantaneously that tells me, am I moving in the right direction or not? Like, am I achieving the outcome that I signed up for? And that's also keeping that life cycle, that retention, that outcome-based service alive and well.
Yeah, build a model of understanding. And many folks, when they visit the doctor, I know the last time I went to my general doctor, I mean, there was something weird with my knee, and he didn't really give me helpful advice. I learned later from a guy who's not a doctor that it had to do with the muscle imbalance and like me being flexible in one part of my hip versus another, and I needed to work on that. And that doctor had no idea. He's like, "Oh, does it hurt? It doesn't."
It's crazy.
Why are we talking about?
It's so crazy, dude. That old model's leaving. Like, I'm so grateful that the old model of care and like what you could just get away with as a physician, or just from my perspective, again, I'm not a doctor. I would love to be one if the model like actually allowed me to. Though from my personal experience, I've just seen so many people go without the right care. And even if, traditional medics, doctors, physicians mean well, the standard of care and the training wasn't necessarily built for that type of evaluation. Like modern holistic medicine or different types of training regarding like mobility or just general health, they weren't also often like factored in to the like, all right, cool, here's a prescription and good luck. And so the access to technology now, like I did something recently, I got my blood work done and then I uploaded it into my own version of Claude. And then I had it break down everything for me as a physician, which obviously do at your own risk. You can't take that as like actual medical advice, though. I was going back and forth with it. And the things that I learned about like my own biology and then how I built my own recommendations, protocols for like what I was taking. Like I saw that my testosterone was kind of average. And I'm like, all right, average, a little bit below average. What can I do about that? So personally, I was like, all right, like let me explore with enclomiphene, which was an incredible opportunity to increase my testosterone, be able to get ahead of some of the fertility issues I was looking at and say, all right, did this make a difference? Fast forward 6 weeks later, did new blood work, saw absolute like really positive results I was happy with. I'm like, this is incredible. Like things that I would have never even known to ask for. Like I wouldn't know the questions to ask the doctor that is an expert in that thing. And then I just got my answers immediately. I was able to lean into it with more progressive, like physicians and people who were willing to prescribe based on the evidence and the data. And then I saw the outcome I was looking for. And I was like, this is life-changing. Like, I'm going to keep doing this. Like, what else can I make better? How can I be my best self? So I get into it, man, though. It's really cool, the industry that we're in and what's possible with it.
Yeah, and some compounds are just like that situation. You could have saw, okay, below average testosterone. Let's hop on testosterone.
Right.
Let's hop on HRT.
Which I didn't want to do. Like, I didn't want to go on to testosterone just because of what I had heard from it. Like, despite being in, there's a lot of things that I'm like, yeah, am I willing to do that? Like, I was in the business for 3 years before I took my first peptide. Like, I had to see the data. Like, I was a skeptic. And I wasn't sure what the results would be. I'm like, give me the more clinical trials. Give me more data. What are the long-term effects? Like, I hear all of those things, and I get it. And then I just saw so many people changing their lives, so many positive benefits, so much more data coming out, suggesting that the thing I wanted to take wasn't just for the thing I was taking. Like, there were recent studies on retatrutide done where it suggested that it decreased the spread of cancer. I was like, this is insane. Like, not only is it built for people with, diabetes, and you're reducing your weight loss, and like you're maximizing your weight loss, you're reducing your fat, though you're also having these other positive benefits from it. I'm like, this is incredible. So like, I had aligned my longevity with the data to say, all right, cool. Like, I'm ready to do it now. And then everything changed. Like 6 months on, I'm just like, this is incredible.
And I think from a business owner perspective, you derive energy from these outcomes of people. And in research peptides, if a customer comes to you and tells you if they're personally using this for themselves, you have to shut the conversation down if you want to be compliant.
Yeah. That's a huge problem.
Like, listen to them because it's not compliant, even though you might want to.
Right.
So what type of operator, entrepreneur does that make you? One who doesn't necessarily care about outcomes. Like, if you're getting into the business and yeah, the money's great, but beyond like meeting your initial needs, like your lifestyle needs or even your wealth goal, what are you going to continue to spend the rest of your life doing?
Right.
And so
that's why I say it's short-sighted, man. If you're running a research brand and you're selling to people, it's just short-sighted, brother. Like, there's no other way to say it. Now, I will say, like, if you're doing it like Loyal is, like loyal.com, incredible company, and they're killing it. And why? Because they're selling for animals. It's for dogs and cats. And you're like, they're extending the lives of our pets. That's amazing. So if you want to pivot to that, cool, man. And that's amazing. And that's protected. You'll be able to do that for a long time. But if you're trying to sell research peptides to people, you have a problem and you should probably stop. And if you don't stop on your own volition, the government's coming.
Like Michael Jordan, stop it. Get help. The help is right here on this video. And there's people that I talk to, they're like, yeah, I'll do telehealth eventually.
That's so silly.
There's like this construct around complexity. So can you talk about how simpler it got over the last year?
It's crazy.
2 years? I don't even know when exactly it got simpler.
Huge push in the last 2 years. Okay. It's been the last 2 years. I mean, so technology is just advanced. All of this is like the reason, if you just want to break it into reasons, because technology advanced. Okay. It used to take dozens of engineers time to be able to come in, build a compliant platform. Like HIPAA was this foreign concept to companies. They didn't understand what it took. And basically, there was a big enough boom and enough money put in with AI pushing fast enough to where engineering teams compressed and then the access democratized. So it used to be really hard to connect with doctors and make it telehealth to where like you could have a consultation online and then connect with the pharmacy that would be able to do it, like provide care sustainably, reliably. Like all that used to be really hard. And there's still a ton of companies that are built on that reality. Though in the last 2 years, you've had so many factors happen to where all of these things have become more accessible. There's multiple clinician networks to where you can actually go through and get care same day. There's multiple pharmacy networks where you can go through and get reliable service in packaging, in shipping, and all of the things that you would expect from a US medical grade pharmacy provider. And same day, next day, 2-day delivery, like all of that kind of stuff exists. And then the technology to make sure that the care received was actually successful, where the consumer, the patient, the person receiving care could come through and say, hey, was it or was it not good? That happened too, all at the same time. So you had these fragmented pieces of the business that have kept it the way it was converge into one, and now everything became accessible. What does that do? That means more people can come into the space. What does that do? That means it becomes more competitive. What does that do? It means the price comes down. Like all those things are connected. Though you fast forward, like you rewind more than 2 years ago, go back 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago, you have organizations that were built on that complexity. So they're trying to protect their moat. It is in their incentive to make it harder. So there's less people, so the price can stay high. So what we're experiencing is really revolutionary because now the price is coming down because it's more accessible. And so those things are really what's led to it. Obviously, there are a lot of checks that you have to like keep in balance. You know, you do not want to compromise the information and the PII. You do not want to compromise the level of service. You do not want to compromise what you must do to be compliant in the intake for specific drugs and medications. This is prescription medication. Like these are like legally mandated drugs that we must make sure are protected the right way. So it doesn't mean it's not hard. It just means the access has never been there like it is today.
Beautiful.
Love you too.
2 years. A lot happens in 2 years. Many folks think, oh, the doctor's got a call to write the prescription because that's what most are exposed to.
Sure.
They are in telehealth. But that's not the case. They can just click a button, it's prescribed. Or rather,
well, kind of, yes. Though more than that, let's just like making sure everyone knows. So you have sync-based and async-based visits, right? So there are different medications that require different types of visits. If you are flagged as someone who requires a sync-based visit, you can do that. Though oftentimes, a lot of people don't have the necessary qualifications to have to be flagged to a person. They check everything that is correct as an async visit, and they meet the criteria because not all medications require lab work. Not all medications require a physician to talk back and forth with you. Some things, there is a protocol that is compliant, that is legally approved, that you can just flow through in the same intake. So when you think, hey, I can just click a button, for some things that's true, which is really nice when it is. Like I love when that's actually the case because it decreases the friction of someone who needs help to someone getting help. And that's the thing that's magical about this movement. Like we're actually helping people. We're getting rich while doing it, which is awesome, though we're actually helping people.
And there's certain compounds that somebody should be able to get it in a super convenient way because it's not going to impact their biology as much. But
right, the risk.
HRT, there's a bit more to it.
Correct. You must do sync.
Maybe we should talk about HRT specifically and the nuances of that and the blood work that's available for people to do and just kind of the advancements in from somebody filling out a form to actually get into their doorstep. How long does it usually take versus how long it used to usually take and the costs associated?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a big part of what everybody's cross-selling into or wanting to launch. It's the most natural thing that people would think their telehealth would be about.
Right. Yeah. So that's one where, and I just separate them into two different types of medications. So one type of medication, you can do async. It doesn't require anything else. You're able to say, hey, like I want this. And as long as you're qualified, you can get that. And then there's another type of medication where it does require approval. It does require lab work, the right sync opportunities to be able to share your medical history with a real physician to be able to get prescribed. Though the call out is back in the day, before this revolution, you'd have to go see a specialist or really your primary care, and then they'd refer you to a specialist, and then they would hopefully get you in the process to where you could get approved, and then you'd get to go and get it. And like you'd have to go through all these steps. And that's just basic
American healthcare system.
Literally, which is crazy. I mean, there's a whole story there. Like I'm big into medical tourism. I think that's interesting. Topic for another time. Though what used to happen was, step by step by step by step. Then you get the labs. Then you wait weeks at a time. Then you get your results back. Then you have another doctor consultation to say, what can you or should you do? When you as the person paying attention to your own body knew what you needed, though we're told to wait and wait and wait until. And then also the prices were significantly higher. So while it was more difficult and it took longer, it was also more expensive and you didn't have access to it and people didn't even know what it was. All of that's changing. It's getting faster, it's easier to access, it's more affordable, and ultimately the type of care you get to be able to say, all right, cool, this is how my body's responding to it. You get that feedback near real time. So all of those things have converged.
And then now we have Secretary of War Peter Hegseth mandating testosterone therapy. He must have saw some.
I'm pretty cool with it. I'm cool with it.
What? You look at that collective blood work. Our battalions are 80-year-old men.
Tough, dude.
Test levels.
Tough, dude. Yeah.
22-year-old spec ops guys are 80-year-old men. What's going on here?
Actually, sidebar, I am interested in getting that government contract. We should talk about that.
But they're pushing it, and him alongside, Kennedy. There's been a war on Americans' health for decades for the sake of profit.
Yep.
And now, luckily, we have well-meaning men, at least in this category, that are making it happen, making it accessible for us. I don't know what it's going to mean for how quickly turnaround times will be, or what biomarkers are needed to get testosterone available for people. But presently, right now, what has been available for people to take on the testing side to get testosterone? I know there's those little devices, and we have versions of that. And I just can speak about it more the testing side, and if it's meant to be upsold with some margin, or if it's meant to be sold at cost. Just the actual cost of goods of that.
Yeah, there's a handful of organizations now who have built testing as a service, which is cool. So like we can partner with groups like that. Or again, it depends on your competitive moat. If we're talking to the business owner, you're like, hey, where does testing fit into this? Well, did you choose a product that requires testing? Question 1. Question 2, are you interested in building the infrastructure to enable testing at scale? If yes, different conversation. If no, you should probably just buy it from someone who's already done it, right? So you're either licensing from a platform that's available, or you're identifying your own vendors that are going to supply you. And then based on that, it's just, how does that factor into your company, your economics? Are you going to make margin on that? Or would you prefer to make the barrier to entry easier for your, the people you're serving to make sure that they get the best possible outcome? Are you going to lead it as a, like one group I'm working with, they use testing as a loss leader. They're willing to give you the testing for free. Why? Because you've built the trust, you have the data. Now it's a really interesting way that you can come back and serve them. And then you get to tell them comprehensively what they need. So like, there's a lot of different ways you can handle it. And based on your business and what you want, like you would decide that, though it has to be strategic in my opinion.
So many decisions about the telehealth business that have to be well thought out.
Yeah.
That probably can't just be answered by watching a few YouTube videos or conversations with ChatGPT.
Don't do that. So, and the reason, just like not even just being selfish about it, it changes. Like the right answer for me 2 years ago is the wrong answer today. And that's true for most of the brands I'm working with. You cannot operate off of 2024 playbook. You will die. And I can give you a list of companies that have. So it's like you have to make sure you are adapting to market segment, market cycle to ensure that 1, you're protecting your business. The 2, you're actually giving the best care that you can. Like you are operating your business's purpose at its highest capacity. So you can't just play off the old playbook.
And so what is the playbook then for 2026? The most optimal, starting from scratch? Well, I'm asking the question. I know the answer. It's a podcast query, guys. I'm not a dumbass. I know I'm just giving, the query.
The biggest thing is, and I think of this as first principles, buy versus build. That's the question. Has someone already solved this problem? If so, is it cheaper for me to buy it from them or build it myself? The only reason you would build it yourself is if it's competitive advantage for your business. That's it. If not, parity works. Literally just buy it from the person who already does that. That is their business. They have an SLA in place to where you have a quality that's there. And then find your own thing that's your unique advantage. Like if you can zero in on one unique advantage and then really just build vendors and partners around you to do the rest, that's what I see working best. It decreases the cost regarding barrier to entry. It increases your potential output to validate did this business work? Can I continue doing this? And then if the answer is yes there, then you can get creative. Then you can invest crazy money because you see it moving up and to the right. If you're not doing that, you're either the short-sighted, like something's off. You might have an insight that I don't have, or you're an existing player that already has a moat. Like some of the guys I work with, bigger guys, they have their own operating system. They have their own technology. They have, dozens of people on staff doing the thing from an engineering perspective. And that makes sense for them. If you're starting out or transferring from a different brand, different company, you don't need that. Like there are players in space you can partner with, license with, and be off to the races in less than a month.
And these brands that choose to launch alongside a team to implement, what is a realistic time frame of getting their first set of patients?
Same week. Yeah, same. Like there's nothing stopping you from getting, first people in same week. Like for the people you're referencing specifically, like you guys have an audience. It's just like, hey, this is happening now too. Here's the special offer, and then it's done. It's not rocket science. It is like business, which is great.
Because in a pudding with the peptide influence the research guys who do exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the checkout's a pretty easy process. You don't got to go through a doctor, but you could argue, hell, if there's a doctor involved, it should increase checkout conversion rate.
Yeah.
And
there's a whole slew of customers, patients, people that are looking for this care that would not do it without.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing I see personally, because I only play in the telehealth game. Like I don't own or operate anything RUO based. I have consulted in that space. I think it's really interesting. Again, cutting edge, though it not my cup of tea. I have a risk tolerance. I'm looking at the longer spectrum of what's coming, and the people that we serve are often asking, what is the criteria? What does the testing look like of the actual medications being prescribed? Where are they coming from? And making sure it's legitimately medical grade. Most people, especially as you move up market and you go into the more premium market, as well as anyone over the age of 35, those people actually care. They're not just trying to do the random cool thing. They're actually caring about their health. And the good news is peptides solve their problems.
And so what are your thoughts on the other therapies that exist out there that require more in-person treatments and stem cells? Do stem cells come up in
all the
conversations? Because I would think if you have an established telehealth brand, perhaps you might have a good patient base that would do well with stem cells. You just can't ship stem cells to be self-administered. They have to be given by an in-person clinic. And so a lot of these clinics, they have referral programs where they pay, the clinic that I refer people to with Dr. Albert, the one that's speaking in, at the FDA thing, they pay $2,000 to me every time I refer them a patient that pays. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah.
I would assume it's similar with other clinics. I didn't do much vetting on that end, but do you see a role in in-person treatments with the telehealth?
For sure.
Somebody builds their telehealth empire for in-person to have a role. And I guess that might be some alpha. I don't know if we want to.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a thing. So what you're talking about is adjacent opportunities, adjacent businesses.
And stem cells is one of them, but there's also just regular supplements.
Yeah.
Like GLP-1, electrolyte.
Regular fitness coaching, meal planning. Stem cells is at the higher end of it. So we love that. The med spa people, people who have in-person locations have an advantage. That's actually just so everyone knows, that is true. Because there's a connection, there's a relationship. Similar to those who have audiences that are listening. You have an advantage versus the telehealth company that's just praying that Meta hits because they had a hook, right? They're able to offer something that's competitive. Though if you do have an in-person advantage, use it. And then ideally you are taking this opportunity to serve the person to the best ability that you can. So building relationships with stem cell clinics, probably a good thing. Because you want to be the person. This is the actual thing that I see. Everyone doesn't want to have 10 different providers. They want one provider. The people coming to me, they're like, hey, I trust you. It's Sirmoreland.com. I'd love to use Sirmoreland. And they're like, I don't want to go to this other company that I get my testosterone from. Can you do that too? Once they experience our service of care, They don't want the other providers. They want one provider that they can trust. And that comes from the experience of having a team that actually follows up, that actually does what they say they're going to do. And so if you're in person, you have that advantage. And then you can say, hey, John, how are you? How did it go? What are you feeling? Oh, interesting. And so what are you thinking about? And you have that active dialogue. And then they're like, no, I've been considering stem cells. We have people for that. Let me make an introduction. Like, that naturally exists. The guys that were helping in the med spa business, crazy, silly crazy. Just because they already have the customer base and they already trust them for they already show up to get their facial or get their Botox or get whatever it is. So naturally, they're asking about peptides and they're curious and they have to ask, like, have you heard of this stuff? Do you know what I should do? It's like, I really want to feel better in my skin. Like, I really want to make myself look good. They're like, yeah, here's GHKCU, here's Clo, here's the list of peptides that help. And they're actively looking for it. So I know I can talk on a lot for that.
I want to speak more to that because there are going to be a few people who will watch this that already run like a med spa clinic. And
crazy.
So, to those folks, because I've had a few hit me up and say, hey, we want to launch a telehealth company and division, take advantage of, the people that may not be able to come into our place, or maybe we don't want to buy all these compounds and we want to just have them shipped, which some med spas are getting in trouble even for buying research products and giving them to patients. In Alabama, this was a big issue.
Huge in Alabama.
And they said, you can't do that at all.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the best route for the med spa listener?
That is probably the person who should do this the fastest.
Okay.
Because they're already built for it today. Like, the RUO people that are transferring, they're built for it within a week. Like, the med spa people have the people ready, trusting, like, immediate today at call. Like, everything just is in their place. So it's like, I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't. Like, I can't see a conscious objection to why they should not have telehealth as a part of their practice, other than they didn't know they could. Like, they didn't have the information, which now is different because we've just given them the information. So, like, now it's absolutely accessible. You can have a team that helps you with it. If you have any bit of a customer base, you're going to see a positive ROI. So now why would you not?
There's probably some entrepreneurs too listening to this that don't own a med spa, but then maybe they know somebody owns a med spa and it's like a partner implementation thing. And because expanding beyond local,
it's huge.
It's a good place to start whenever you actually have a local presence.
Absolutely.
The amount of marketing and access to even local influencers to make content, and it just looks like more like a real brand, a real clinic versus something that was AI generated.
That's right. Yeah, it's just the experience, man. Like, as silly as that is, like, it is the experience. It goes back to us saying that we're still early. Like, if you're not getting the questions about it, trust me, they're coming. Like, the people who are online are looking at, every influencer's talking about it. Like, so people have to be coming and asking. And if they're not, just prep because they're coming. So you want to get ahead regardless, and you want to be the trusted source. Like, if you're a locally focused med spa, like, you need to be the organization that can answer their questions, because everyone has questions. Like, I get the questions every day. I see it through our team. Our care team gives us the response of what's like. We have that conversation. And people want to know, like, where it's coming from and what are the results and what does it look like. And obviously, you can't give out false medical information, though you can point to data and you can suggest, like, hey, this is expectations based on the Mayo Clinic, based on these other peer-reviewed articles that are communicating the expected outcomes. And you need to be that source of truth for your people. Like, you need to be able to give them the access to what they're looking for, because it does help and they do want it. And you do get to benefit from that.
So you're a telehealth brand owner. When I say brand, multiple domains, web properties, companies, valued in multiple 8 figures. Some domains probably in a few months or even a year from now worth drastically more, depending on the FDA decision, because the FDA decides, hey, this compound can be compounded. Mr. Domain owner over here, I don't even know what that's going to do for the...
It's good. It's good. The portfolio has done very well.
And it's just like, how do you grow faster in the space? And the answer is this software and what we're doing. Because there are people out there who've got audiences and they're willing to put skin in the game to actually help run the business, like
Right.
be the business owner, because they are CEO, they are founder,
Yes.
their name is on it, but they just simply need the operational expertise, the team, and it would be unwise for them to just hire a marketing agency that's different than the people that are familiar with the platforms.
Completely different game.
The platforms aren't necessarily incentivized to, on a daily basis, on a cadence that's appropriate to actually run a company like this,
Right.
giving advice and helping out the brand owner. Because I mean, the platform, the one that we use, they have like 100 brands now, and I mean,
Fastest growing.
That's fastest growing. I was just talking to them today, and they have a scope. They got a service level agreement. They got a scope of stuff that they're going to help you with, and to go outside that scope, they're willing to do that. But it's not like they're going to spot optimization opportunities or help craft an entire go-to-market plan. It's just,
that's why I built what I built, really right?
At the utility of the lights, the water, gas,
the platform, man. Yeah.
It has to exist for your store to succeed. So I guess, what do you see in terms of acquisition activity from an M&A perspective? Like the types of people that would be buying the sort of brands that we're building.
Yep. So, I mean, you can just look at what's happened, right? So 30 Madison bought Remedy Meds, huge deal. Like it was $1 billion deal kind of thing. I think it was half billion. And then Hims bought Eucalyptus, which is a brand out of Australia, and they had global distribution. Both of those deals happened at a 2x revenue, which is huge because the space is typically like what, 15, 20% margin. So like in terms of net, so that's 10x EBITDA. Right. And so if you're looking at that, you're like, hey, that's interesting, though. How big do you have to be to do that? That's why distribution matters. So like both were 9-figure brands that got bought. And then on the smaller side of things, obviously, like there's a multiple arbitrage opportunity when you play together. Because just as general business, if you're under 5 million in terms of revenue, you're going to get lower valuation, lower multiples. So as you start to play together, you get bigger opportunities. Your growth rate, significant impact on that. So if you're flatlining, you don't get to raise at and or sell at the same type of valuation. So like you have to factor that in mind if you are making an exit move. Though I'd say it's still super early is the immediate call out. So like for me in the portfolio that I have, I've positioned it for one of two exits. It's either going to a drug company because I have the IP of the actual drugs, or it's going to a distribution company like a Hims, someone who's actively providing. The only other alternative would be like a PE company that's trying to get in. So it's like functionally drug, strategic-based distribution, or PE money trying to come in and enter the market. So for those of the people like looking to say, hey, what's the actual opportunity here? You'd say, if you can build interesting distribution, which is what I'm interested with doing with you, if you have these professionals, these health adjacent owners, founders with distribution that we're able to build a network of, we'd be able to effectively run a roll up and just do a repeat of what Eucalyptus did with Hims or what Remedy Meds did with 30 Madison. You'd be able to go to the next, to a Roe, to an Eli Lilly, to a Novo Nordisk, to a large PE group that's trying to enter. There's lots of different options there.
Straightforward. And I guess what would be the price point you'd sell at?
Me?
Roll up.
That's a fun question. I mean, answer's always more. Though, I mean, the portfolio I have right now, I wouldn't take less than 8 figures for. And basically, if I do my job right, it should get to 9. And if I royally fuck up, it'll be an 8-figure exit, which is not bad as a life, though, man, I don't want to drop this up. So,
yeah, I mean, once in a lifetime type opportunities.
For most people, yeah.
I'm
going to keep swinging. I love this game, though. It's like, it's really nice to be able to have built something that is meaningful and then obviously is going to have a really positive upside, though. We're young men. And it's like,
40s yet?
Fuck off. You son of a bitch. 33.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So and I got a lot of juice left, man. Like this is early game. So we got work to do. And there's a lot of people to help. Like that's the cool thing. So in Utah, fun fact, they have this, they call it a sandbox for innovation. And recently they just enabled AI to be able to fulfill refills on prescriptions. And so like there's so much opportunity in the care side or in the prescribing side regarding AI, like embodiment and or like adjacent positioning for bolt-on and or creation. Like it's going to be super cool what we can actually do to continue improving the care and who we can serve and how we can serve them with what.
Right.
I'm a nerd in the space, man. So you let me talk, I'll just keep going. Though there's a ton more.
It sounds like there's a lot of advancements, and in some telehealth companies may not even implement these advancements, and that allows
most don't.
You to recognize the value, potentially buy them, add the value where you see, and then there you go. They're more valuable just because you cut costs 10% or whatever because you added AI prescription filling as an example. And any entrepreneur watching this, I mean, this could be the first of many brands that they launch potentially, because these for the entrepreneurs, especially that have the creator networks, them especially, I mean, they got the keys, they got all
it's crazy.
This traffic.
I mean, that is the money. Just like if you are one of those people with the creator network, you're sitting on so much money. It's crazy. I talk to those people who are working with the brands I work with. I do all the consulting, man. It's just such a unique advantage. I don't have the skill set. I wish I was you sometimes, though. Hopefully you want to work with people like me, because I definitely know how to execute, though. It's like it's just still so untapped, even though people are doing it and like people are aware to it. I still see so many people who are like 1 foot in, 1 out. Like they don't necessarily know when to jump in with 2 feet because they're just not sure, and they need the confidence. They need to understand exactly everything before they do. And when that happens, like when we help people get there, it's another unlock.
Right. Arguably, it's easier for a creator to just open up a TikTok shop account and talk about a product, and there's thousands of people.
That's coming, by the way. Yeah.
There's thousands of people that are becoming now confident in their own personal ability to make money for themselves online with their face.
Yep.
And those people that's the latent audience and relationships that is to be tapped into.
I'll tell you, TikTok specifically, like just recently, they're allowing compounded peptide brands to advertise. Like that's super new, super early. Like it's only been like traditional, like not over the counter though, like medical grade prescribed, like branded that could run. So now it's like there's a whole new game opening up on TikTok right now for those types of people. It's crazy.
Maybe we could speak to that, because branded versus unbranded.
Oh man,
semaglutide, TERS.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on unbranded, actually. Very bullish on it. I mean, just because of accessibility and price, right? I mean, I think what was the numbers? Eli Lilly did, I think it was like 67 billion on tirzepatide alone in the last year. Just one product. Like it's insane. I mean, the price point's in like 500 plus, 1,000 plus, oftentimes per month, versus, a compounded equivalent or like equivalent. Don't catch me saying the wrong thing, so don't come for me, please. Though there's the adjacent products that are very effective and significantly more affordable. And I think, the market has spoken because of the growth of the gray market with RUO, of like people need a more affordable solution. And the good news is I can see it happening in the telehealth business, where the prices are coming down to basically meet the middle of saying you can trust it. It's not just random, research chemicals from China that no one's done testing on, though. It's also not the $1,000 a month, big pharma product either. And so, I mean, the boom in the compounded pharmacy space is incredible, and I don't see it slowing down. In fact, I think that's going to be the thing that makes, peptides and just this movement possible.
Right. And all these white label telehealth capabilities that exist in America, soon to, in maybe a year, 2, 3, open up in Europe, other parts of the world as well.
Super excited about that.
Accessible. And I'll say the doctor who wrote the book on peptide science, Albert, he says the 2 biggest catalysts that is going to propel this industry, that's already happened, is both Brazil and India, large markets.
Huge.
Having now generic semaglutide at extremely rock bottom affordable costs.
That's right.
So people who have never even...
Yeah, the patent's expired.
Right, patent expired. People who have never taken medication that... Like the same thing that happened when Ozempic was introduced is basically going to be a repeat, but on a much larger population and be distributed probably faster because of the cost.
Oh yeah.
And so that, no pun intended, creates the appetite. The appetite suppression creates the appetite for more compounds that could improve their lives. And
it's the gateway. I mean, if we're looking at the industry as a whole, which to your point, I'm extremely bullish on, we saw GLP-1s operate as the gateway drug for peptides. People took Ozempic or Mounjaro, Zepbound, and now early stages retatrutide, even on the RUO side. And that's what got people comfortable saying, all right, maybe I'm willing to inject myself. Because injections was the biggest barrier for the consumer side of this. People weren't willing to. I wasn't willing to. I'm like, I'm going to inject myself? What is that? Like, if you're not diabetic and taking insulin, it's a weird concept. And then you're like, hold on. And you start going through it.
It's the catalysts in the market that create global demand for these peptides.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And
the global demand's sick.
How your perspective around injecting, like many others, was just been changed. It's like there's a collective consciousness. I don't know if there's a directed thought energy weapon that they zapped everybody with, or that's what the 5G
peptides. Yeah.
Maybe the 5G towers were transmitting a, yes, you like to inject. You like to inject.
Crazy.
Okay. Get the vaccine. You like to inject. Okay.
Oof.
We're going to leave this tinfoil hat blurb inside of this podcast just because. But and I'm not saying I believe in that. Okay. Sometimes I am what I believe. Yeah, he does. So, I mean, look, the reality is people are, even if they don't like to inject, there are forms of these compounds that are already here. That's oral.
That's right. Or creams.
Oral, they're patches, they're creams. Yeah. And I was at this telehealth of business event in Miami, and there's some brand owners there that showed up, and some of their hero products is just straight up creams of, and it's
100% expected.
So cool.
Your point on India and Brazil is exactly right. And the thing to pay attention to is two things. One, how fast it worked in the US, because the US is typically the first, we're basically the guinea pig for the world regarding medications. We, unfortunately, don't care about our people as much regarding a pharmaceutical perspective. So people are willing to push drugs out there and see what happens. To the flip side of that, when something works, it's like, hey, it worked, and then the rest of the world ends up adopting it. So there's a really interesting thing being seen regarding just adoption of these types of medications. I think the first places we've seen, obviously, is Australia, UK, Canada. Obviously, across everywhere else in the world, as a call out, is it's always more affordable than in the US. So access becomes a big thing. Though what you called out with India is exactly right. So when the patent and the trademark were just basically available to where it ended and now it can be made mass produced, the generic version in India is significantly underpriced. Just the price dropped to as accessible as you could imagine in terms of mass production. So
if there was a hunger problem in India, that solves it.
Yeah, man. It's going to be very interesting. Now, obviously, that's specifically to semaglutide. There's still a ton of market opportunity regarding tirzepatide and other peptides that are happening, though. I do agree. The global opportunity is also what gets me most excited about this, specifically looking at my personal domain portfolio. And then when you look at what's possible from the infrastructure you set up. So you said something interesting. You're like, hey, what happens when you have these other networks that copy what's going on in the US? So you have provider networks and you have pharmacy networks that are able to meet the jurisdictional regulations of that place. The EU is hard because of their regulations around, patient data and around service of care. So the groups that end up winning there are going to have crazy moats to be able to, repeat the success that's happened.
More. And there's
completely
European, whether it's fitness brands or health entrepreneurs that I've talked to, they say, dude, I completely believe in the telehealth thesis. I would need to set up an entity and run it in the US because we can't do it here in Europe, as far as they know right now, presently. And
yeah, the people doing it are early, and are some of the smartest people I've ever met. So there's a group that I've worked with that I've, connected with. They transitioned from US to the UK and then now all over Europe. They've 10x'd in the last 12 months. Just absolute green field for them to just go run because, again, the smartest people I've ever met. So they're able to go understand what opportunities are there, meet the required needs, and then be able to facilitate distribution with capital. It's hard right now, though. You'll have those first movers. They'll get their first win. I'm betting that guy's going to be the Hims of the UK. And then there's going to be more people who are able to copy that success because you have those front runners. Though it's still so early for anyone that's thinking global outside of the US.
Global, literally any country. And there's people watching this right now. They could be in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
And
I've met
humans in Uzbekistan that need medications.
I've met two different people building networks, one in Southeast Asia and one in Africa. And they're actively looking to repeat what's happened in the US because they understand it's a human need. And the success has happened. That's what I mean by like us being the guinea pig in the US. We've proven that it's meaningful outcomes. And like, if you think of GLP-1 specifically, it was built for diabetics. Like, there's enough data on this. It's not like crazy. You have multi-billion-dollar drug companies that have proven net positive results with these medications. And so now we're seeing that natural adoption happen across other types of places.
Mm-hmm. And then folks who are listening who might have connections to these places, just randomly, people have random connections. Just
That is true.
Like, yeah, man, I got the president's son of Gambia or whatever.
Sure.
There's just
Let's do it.
There's a random. No, me personally, I don't. I'm just saying, like, there's those sorts of connections that lead to these outside opportunities, and so you being skilled in having this business in an emerging market allows you to capitalize on these potentially random events.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I saw you built doesn't have to be a huge one, just, a $5 million a year telehealth brand.
Sure.
Okay. In the US, we want to do something in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Or wherever.
So that's actually the long-term play with the portfolio. Like, if I don't get bought early, owning glp1.com, sirmoreland.com, cmax.com, ghkcu.com, like, owning these assets is built for a global play. And I've, there's been a handful of people who've asked, like, hey, like, what do you think about doing this in UAE? What do you think about doing this in, again, these other places? And the answer is yeah. Like, long term, of course we have to do that. And the assets are meant to be a source of truth. It's meant to be a place where it's like, yeah, you should get the best care, best access at the exact match place of like the topic you're thinking of. That was the whole point. Like, ironically, the story around the domains was peptides are not trademarkable. So like, all of the drug companies, like Ozempic is trademarked. Zepbound is trademarked. GLP-1 is the clinical term, cannot be trademarked. So like, that to me was just the thought process of saying, hey, this is an opportunity to be able to own the IP and the real estate of this market and then bring it to the world. So would love those connects, actually.
They're definitely there, and it would make things quite interesting real fast. So maybe there's this perception that, if I do telehealth, I'm going to grow slower and my cash flow will be slower. Not really. Like, if you put the same tenacity, just as you intended to do in research into telehealth, I mean,
yeah,
you're going to win.
There's a case to be made it's better, like significantly better by a lot, because on the research side, if you have someone who is a more analytical buyer or someone who is like, they need to have every box checked, they're never going to check out on some research chemical from China. Like, there's so much that would go wrong. And so there's a whole side of the market. And my belief that I'm like very like bought into and what I've bet out everything on is that when you go to the early majority, because right now it's early adapters. So it is your biohackers and the people on the edge and the fringe. When you go to the majority of people, they don't buy that way. They don't think that way. They don't listen or trust that way. They're not going to listen to me talking to you right now, though they will listen to you. They will listen to the person they've built the relationship with, that they've seen the results from, that will in fact go to their doctor and get confirmation from. Like, that's happening now. So I think as the market expands, it becomes a more conscientious buyer that wants to have the confidence and the security that these medications are coming from the right place and that they are signed off on and the liability is checked in. And it's also from a place where it's not just a transaction, it's a community. It's not just a transaction, it's an experience. It's someone actually saying, hey, I recognize what you're feeling, what you're going through. These other people did too. This is your path forward. Welcome.
Incredible. And, referring somebody to a research site, kind of sus. It's like, should I tell somebody that I bought this from this weird Chinese research site, or tell them, oh yeah, my doctor, like, you got to go to, semaglutide.com.
Right.
So semaglutide.com, right? Just go there.
Just learn more. Do your own research, right? That's what everyone says. Just like, do your own research. Like, all right, cool.
Or, no, this influencer, he does a webinar like, every month, and he brings a doctor on, and the doctor talks about, how GLP-1s affect your body, and he's like really smart, and yeah, you should get on the webinar. That is a much more responsible recommendation.
Oh, yeah.
Then, hey, there's this subreddit.
Yeah.
On this little part of it, and you actually need a Tor browser if you want to get in.
Granted, I do dig the subreddits, though. Again, the normal consumer,
For like Reddit,
Yeah,
it's not on a Facebook group.
Yeah. The mom of 3 probably not going to do that.
Yeah. If people trust you online with their health, you got like a moral obligation to make sure they make the best decisions they can.
Facts.
And you can be rewarded for it. It's not like you got to choose one or the other. And
yeah, you get to do both, which is incredible. I mean, that is the cool part about being in this business. You know, like most times you have to compromise something to make money. In most businesses, this is aligning people's positive health outcomes with your financial growth. And like, that's incredible. It's so cool to be early in something that's making such a meaningful difference in people's lives. Like, I'm grateful for it. I love it. People who serve other people in the audience space, like if you have a fitness business, you know, how are you not? Is kind of the thought in my head. Like, have you taken peptides? Like, I think it's just only like you just have to not know. Like, otherwise, I'm probably missing something. And you please correct me. Though I think it just must be like you just haven't experienced it yet. And once you do, it changes people's lives for the better. And if you've already chosen that path, you would of course do this. Like, you would of course make it more accessible, and you would of course make a better experience for the people you're already serving. Like, you own a gym or you're a fitness trainer. Like, you would of course want your customer to be able to have positive results. The caveat would be, are your incentives in conflict? Like, do you have conflicting incentives because the way you currently make money is based on having a client for 12 weeks and now it's 6? So like, how do you make up for that? And if that is what you're thinking, just charge for the outcomes, bro. Like, go for like, hey, we're going to get you here and here's how. And it's not cheating and it's not this thing that no one understands. Like, no, like the data's out. The doctors have spoken, or at least those that are allowed to speak. And you're just like, hey, this is a real meaningful outcome if you should choose it. And it's an option. At least make the option available so the person has a choice. I rant, bro. Like,
well, there are different catalysts to making this popular in these different sub niches, and the conversation we're having is not being had. It's like, yeah, bro, I take GHK, CU, and I bone smash, and
yeah.
So, funny story. One of them, I won't say who it is, but like the prominent looks maxing influencer.
Sure.
Okay, like the number one guy.
Yep.
Like you already know.
Got it.
So he has, of course, he has digital products. And so the WAP team that I work with, their account manager works close, and she's just, because she knows about peptides, and
sure,
she's kind of like disappointed on how things are communicated. Like, somebody with such a huge following and
sure,
people looking at them, just how irresponsibly it's communicated how to use these compounds. I mean, taking 10x the regular dose of certain compounds.
Yep. It's a problem. It's actually not helping. Yeah, it's actually not helping, which is unfortunate.
But it's like a pendulum, you know. If the first movers take a very extreme take just for the views, it forces the more legitimate people to say, hey, not so fast.
Yeah, to say something.
Yeah. And so, you know, people like my client, Dr. Albert, who want to go now on like speaking tours. I mean, he's been speaking for a long time to other doctors, but he really wants to ignite his personal brand on social media even more so, and dispel a lot of the BS that's out there. Really just give confidence to the folks watching what they're hearing from certain influencers that may or may not be bought out by a research company, you know, their own agenda to push specific compounds. Like, it takes discernment to succeed well in this space. For those who've made it to this part of the podcast, first of all, thank you. Honor that you like found value in this. We want to extend an opportunity. I mean, you're probably already in a conversation with us, whether maybe you had a phone call or you scheduled one and you watched this before the call as a pre-call video. But for those who didn't make it to that point, I want to extend the opportunity to engage with myself, Mark, and the rest of our team, all the minions that make stuff work, to get your telehealth brand launched and get real success with this space. So, any thoughts to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, for sure. So it's like, what do we want to make sure that they know? we want to say it is absolutely accessible to be able to build your own telehealth brand, and relatively quickly and affordably. So like, if you've been considering it, the answer is yes. And no, you don't have to do it alone. And no, it doesn't have to be hard. And all of the things that come with, you can align yourself with people like us that are willing to help. Our incentives are built so we can help each other. So it is possible, it is accessible, it is affordable. For those who already have audiences that are serving people in a health-based capacity, I don't know what else to tell you, but say this is probably the most important thing you could do this year. So like, it's July of 26 right now. You should be able to turn this on immediately. If you don't do it before end of year, you're going to look back and you're going to say, why didn't I do that? So highly recommend you reach out, engage with us. I'd say for the people in the RUO space, you don't have much time, unfortunately. So you need to do something. Either you're going to retire because you made so much money. Congratulations. Cheers to you. Because again, still, I dig what you did. Or you want to keep going. And for those of you that want to keep going, we can help with that. We can make it fast. We can make it painless. And you ultimately have an opportunity to be able to migrate some of the people you're currently working with. That will not be true in probably about 45 days from now. So just as a call out, you probably want to get moving. For some of the other people, those who are entrepreneurial minded, though you're like, hey, is it too late? It's not even close to too late. Like, we are so stupidly early. It's funny. Again, sub 5% adoption in the US regarding peptides, sub 20% adoption regarding GLP-1s. It's still so early. So absolutely an opportunity for you, though. Just don't be delusional and understand that it is like everything else works. So if you're just transitioning to this for the first time, you're going to have to put in some effort, though it's such a big opportunity. It makes sense for you. For the people who are running med spas, I can't understand why you wouldn't be doing this. Like, you have to be getting so many questions about this every day. Like, you just have to. So if you're not currently doing this, it's the easiest thing you could do to add revenue and value to your business. It's the easiest thing you could do to be able to create an additional opportunity to increase the multiple of your business. Like, I just don't get it if you're not doing it. I'm happy to help if you need that. No worries. And then if you're not any of those people and you're just like interested in peptides, I know exactly what that feels like. Like, I've been you. I was you for years while working with these brands. And now my quality of life is significantly better. So I would say connect with someone who has had the experience in a similar place to you, get the right information. And then, I wish you the best on the journey, because it's a very different life and it's all for the better.
Yep. So let's get all better together and build beautiful businesses. Good outro.